get not gonna play the video for a little bit, so stay awake. Actually, I was yawning just now. I was kind of worried about myself, but Kenny asked me the first day I got back, Saturday I got back, in that Sunday. He says, "Hey, you want to say something at service about it?" No, my head was just swimming. I couldn't have really said anything except, neato, or that was good. It's been a while to get it, about 3 weeks now, and I've got it now, so I'm going to tell you all about it. But it was like 7 different events in 7 different parts of the country with 7 different groups of people, and a newspaper or a TV at each one, and it was exhausting, but exciting, So, but it was really effective. I think we made a lot of connections with the folks that were there. So they weren't just entertaining some stranger who ran through town. I think they benefited, each one of them, from it a little bit. Besides the newspapers, there were lots of, we'd go to a little town, and the little town of Hope, like Kentucky. We went, and I was able to speak at their Sunday evening service, and there was lots of the ladies came up, talked to Jada afterwards, and was like, "I didn't know that place was right." I mean, we were 20 minutes away from Winchester, Kentucky, is their closest pregnancy care center, and they didn't know. They would not have known if somebody came up to ask them, that they were in a tight spot, what to do. So now they do. So we got a lot of that, and got a lot of new ideas too for Hope Resource Center. The board kind of got. I loaded everything on them this week. We had a board meeting Thursday. So one of them's a big fundraiser. Kenny, Nathan, you guys have any experience waiting tables at a restaurant? I'll get back with you. Keep that in mind. So around Valentine's Day, you guys will all probably get a chance to help out a little. So, but anyway, it went way better than I really hoped for. I mean, you plan for it to do great, but it's going to be a little bit messed up here and there. Things will go wrong, but it really was way better than I thought it would be. It was great. So today I want to remind you what it was that my ride was, in case anybody didn't quite catch it, and then I'm going to remind you why I did it, which is the biggest part, and then I'll show the video and I'll tell you about that. Then if I want to do a little question and answer one too after the video, if you want. In Kansas, that was the only place we did that. Most places would have me say something and then go sit down. And at Kansas, it was at a little Catholic church, and he said, "Okay, say something, and then just sit up here, and they're going to fire some questions at you." And that was awesome. That was really the best format. I wish we would have done that at every one of them, but so I'm going to let you guys have that opportunity. Think of questions. But what it was, if you remember, you heard me say, and I wanted to thank you guys. I asked you before I left to like and share on Facebook, and you did. It got a lot of traction. It was all over the place. I was meeting people all around town that said, "Hey, I saw you went on this big ride," and not church people that I was running into. So they were seeing it. So thank you for that. But it was a big commercial for Hope Resource Center and all the pregnancy centers in general. As you know, the first couple of years, I didn't raise much money. Nobody knew what I was really doing. What's a pregnancy care center? Well, now they know. They can go back and check. And we gave them 7 videos, one each night. We gave them, the recap videos that had, the tour and the walkthrough of each of those pregnancy care centers, and also a resource each evening, some sort of pro-life thing, a link to the unplanned movie or another article or something like that. So if they watched even in one of those days, they got a lot more information than they had before. So that's what it was, just a big commercial. And why is what I ended up telling people when I went out. It became apparent close to the time I was going to go out that I was going to have to speak often. I didn't really plan on that. I kind of just started with the idea that I'd go to each town, get a check mark on the box, and ride on. That was about it. And then I had to get up several times and speak, so I thought I better come up with something. And what I decided to answer was, Jada said there's probably 2 things they really want to know. They want to know why you're doing this, and then why you're doing this. Why me? So I was doing it because, and you all know this, I'm preaching to the choir here, but abortions, we do almost 1 million in the United States every year. It's every 30 seconds, there's another niece that's not born, another grandbaby that's not here. It's staggering, the numbers. And we do almost 1 million, which sounds like a ton, but there's 42 million across the planet. And so for me, it was kind of and Marcy had said, we had a discussion about this, like, yeah, I would say I'm pro-life, but what am I doing about it? And kind of I don't know where I came across it, but it's, I'm not Mr. Awana here, but First John 3:18, okay? Beloved children, let us not love in speech and words, but in action and in truth. Oh, so what are you doing about it? So that's what I tried to impress with people when we went out, and that I'm not doing anything special to really be doing this. I don't have any training. At the time I came up with the ideas, I wasn't on the board or anything like that. So I wanted them to know that they could do that, and it's valuable. It's for the church. I think we're kind of, really we should feel obligated. This is, in Nazi Germany they were hiding Jews. In slavery times they were doing the Underground Railroad. This is ours. I think we should feel obligated to help with this. It seems to me, but we got to remember, with each one of those statistics, 1 million people in the United States, that's 1 million different women or young girls that are scared to death in a situation that they are not sure how to do this. And, they're not coming to their parents anymore. They're not coming to their pastor who used to be on the board. They're going on a Google search and they're finding Planned Parenthood. And so I wanted to do the ride so that they knew that there were other choices, which, pro-choice is really not Planned Parenthood. They're pro-abortion. Your choices are really at the pregnancy care centers, of course, and they're the ones who are going to support the girls and the families, the dads even. And I tried to paint a picture when I was out and I was speaking. My favorite analogy, I don't remember if I used it with you guys before I went, but you're going to hear it again. It's if you don't sing very well, and somebody said, you have to get up here on stage and have a microphone and sing a song, I would be scared to death. I would be very nervous. My mouth would be dry. I wouldn't know what to think. But if they told me I was coming up here and going to be with a choir, okay, I could probably get through that. And that's what the pregnancy care centers do, I think, is they come alongside them. They give training, material support. Just they're there. They come along and say, yeah, you can do this. And, they're there to help them through that. So that's why the ride was there. I wanted the people to know that you didn't have to just go to Planned Parenthood. There was a better option. And then then the other, I already told you the whole why me. There's no reason why me. I just decided that I better do something. So that was my answer. It all kind of started. It's funny because 3 years ago I didn't want to do the 5K. I don't like running. I said I'd rather ride a motorcycle for 1,000 miles in a day. And so I did, and it's kind of turned into a thing now. Now I'm that motorcycle guy. So, but the video's next, and it's about 4 minutes worth of pictures of the folks that I saw. I tried to put it all in order, so I would go each night. Of course, I'd go to the closest pregnancy care center to Hope, whatever it was, that state. Get a little walk-around tour, take lots of video and pictures so that they could use that as content for their website and Facebook pages, and then draw the newspaper, the TV station in, make it a benefit to them as well. And then they would do a check mark on one side of the bike, and then I'd ride out to the town of Hope and usually it was the pastor at the church out there, check mark the other side of the bike. So one set of those stickers is hanging in my house, all mounted and framed with a little T-shirt, and then the other side is over at Hope Resource Center. I think they finally got that up the other day. But you're also going to see a lot of those little tiny T-shirts that look like this one that Gino's got on, but it's the little baby version. And I tried to get him to print it on a onesie. Man, it would have been cute on a onesie. Not you with a onesie, but so there each pregnancy care center that I stopped at got a little toddler tee with that T-shirt printed, so they could remember it, and then it was a thank you for them helping me out, because I was just some stranger calling these guys saying, hey, would you like to let me come and invade your clinic and take a lot of pictures? They didn't know who I was. But, you know, it was really awesome. I brought a tent with me, and I didn't have to use that thing one time. I slept in people's houses. They fed me. I even did laundry in Arkansas. That was they were farmers, you know, cattle people. So nice, right? But so after the toddler teas, you're going to see everybody doing the checklist. And then I wanted to tell you too that the song is really special. It's done by the Murphys. It's a guy named Jay Murphy and his daughter Abigail. They got another guy who plays keyboards with them too, but I don't know his name. But he called early on in the process when I wasn't so sure how it was going. I'd made a couple of calls, and the lady at Mississippi, where he's from, sort of lukewarm reception when I called her. I wasn't sure if she was going to even let me go visit. And like a day later, he calls and says, hey, I'm on the board at the Pregnancy Care Center in Mississippi, and I do all their internet stuff, their Facebook things. So we were talking details about who needed to like who and friend who so that they could share my stuff. And he says at the end, he goes, and by the way, I've got I don't know, maybe you'd want to use it. My daughter and I, we sing and play, and I thought you might want to. It's a new song we got called Choose Life. And I thought, well, that's neat. I mean, it just felt awesome when he told me that, but I didn't really care if it was good or bad. He could have played a kazoo, I would have been fine. It was exciting to hear him be like, he was getting into it, and nobody else had yet, and so it was neat. But then he sent me a copy of that, and it's outstanding. It's really neat. So listen to the words on it, and she's 13. She just turned 14 yesterday, but she was 13 when they recorded it. I guess they went to Nashville and recorded it with somebody related to the Oak Ridge Boys, somebody. I don't know anything about country music, but anyways, it was kind of showing another big instance of showing that the whole ride, I felt like it was, really spirit-led, I would say. Everything just happened so easy, just lots of good ideas came into my head that I'm not taking credit for, that kind of stuff, and it just went really easy. I never worried once that anything was going to happen on the road. Felt good. So you're going to see all those people, and then we'll, afterwards, if you want to do a little Q&A, we can do that. So, all right. Go.
So hard on you, no one to see you through, overwhelmed by what might be only one solution you can see, feeling like you've reached the end. Deep down there's a life within. Many voices say that it's your choice to take a life that has no voice. It may not be easy. Choose
wanted to tell you about each one, but I didn't want to mess up the song, you know? Like, oh, that's in Kansas, and the truck with the flames, the priest, that's what he rode. He drove. I was waiting for him in Kansas, and I got there early, and he shows up, and I had no idea he was wearing some crazy T-shirt. It's funny. I got invited to be Catholic. Been there, had the T-shirt thing. I've been there. So, I don't know. Questions, you guys? Anything there? Or you want to go back through the slideshow? Tim's got.
Did you get any reaction from people on the road?
Very
People
little.
honking or
Very little.
upset or anything?
You know, I really expected when I put those on there, I put them on in probably February or March and rode around to work and back and around town. I swear, I count on one hand the number of people that came up and said anything about it. Nothing. One guy saw something. Well, Clarence came over when he saw there was a big thing going on at the launch, but that was it. No, really, very few. I got to get something bigger and more, something more gaudy. I'm thinking about a big Cadillac next year. Actually, say that. You guys should. I want you all to keep praying because Hope Resource Center. I'm kind of talking out of turn a little bit here. We have not gotten this yet, but we are close to possibly getting a mobile ultrasound unit. So that would be outstanding. In Kansas, they had one, and wow, that was neat. So I kind of studied up on how they were doing it. And when we got home, that's when April first told me, she says, hey, somebody said that they might be able to swing one of these by. So there's a lot of details that would have to happen. They're also talking about maybe giving it to some other facility in St. Louis or something, but we're all excited. April's stirred up pretty good. I think Marcy is too. She'd be able to use it. So yeah, pray for that. That would be outstanding to be able to go once a week or so to different.
Bill, can you go over the mic?
Oh, sorry. The mic. Connor's trying to help me out, and I'm just not. I'm too thick to pick it up. Sorry. Pap Gary. Yeah, right from the beginning, like the third picture, there was a guy and his wife. If you notice, he had a T-shirt that said he'd ridden all over 49 states. He hadn't been to Hawaii, and every province in Canada. And he worked in Columbus, and his wife was on the board at Clarity. And he said, "Yeah, I'd like to come out and ride with you." And he led me through some back curvy roads on the way over to Columbus. Yeah, AC. I emailed him today. He just got the video today after church. So, and then couple of times there were groups that rode with me. Yeah, that was fun. It made it more logistically challenging every time, but it was nice. They could show me how to get to Hope, and I didn't have to worry about whether my phone was working. Gino.
So I understand Planned Parenthood and their intentions and all that. It's 2020. Like, how long has Hope been around? Like, this is the first time I've ever heard it. And
Yeah.
Why isn't there like just tons of money thrown at that? Like, I don't understand why it is.
I know.
Like, after
Yeah.
is it a lack of like who owns? I guess who's in charge of Hope?
That's it. It's completely independent. We are affiliated with an organization called CareNet. It's a national organization. There's a couple different organizations that do that, Heartbeat International too, but like we're not a CareNet company or whatever. It's completely independent. It's got its own. No, it's been around, what would you say, probably it was 90s, wasn't it?
They're just fighting.
Early 90s or something like that. It's gone through a couple name changes, and but everything they do is free. It's independent. They have to earn all of the money that they get for staff, for all the services that they provide.
They're paying out so much money.
Yep. But I don't know, it seems to be kind of moving and shaking. That's one of the things that I brought back to the board Thursday was that in North Dakota, I was driving around town. There were billboards for this place. They had a big marketing budget, and they said they spent most of their marketing budget sending it off to Google, because when people would do internet searches, they would come up before Planned Parenthood. The Women's Care Center is what it was called. I think I asked April about it, and she said, well, we could be a Women's Care Center if we wanted to be Catholic. So they're really on board, the Catholics are, with that sort of thing. But yeah, why not? I don't know. They in Mississippi, they were really proud of the fact that 95% of their funds came from churches. And I looked up ours April did for me. We're getting about 26% of our budget comes from churches in the area. Fayetteville being one, of course. So they've always been good with that. But yeah, so that's another big thing on my list of to do. And I think the restaurant fundraiser may help us make some church connections. Yeah, we get to kind of make fun of the pastors a little bit. And I guess it's a competition, is what the Mississippi people have done this for 10 years, and they basically, yeah. Are you awake? Every year they do like 6 or 7 restaurants, and for one night, and they try to do it the Thursday before Valentine's Day, because I guess the restaurants, it's a dead night for them, and they said, if you could get business for us, we'll help you out. And so that Thursday, each one of those restaurants has 2 or 3 different churches, their pastors, youth pastors, and anybody else who wants to kind of help out with that. They all come in wearing the same T-shirts, and all of the tips that night go to Hope Resource Center then. And so that's what we're probably going to get going. I haven't made any first steps on this. This is the first step, I guess, talking to you guys about it. But yeah, it could be really neat. They said that they've done it for 10 years. It's turned into a competition. Everybody wants to be the one that their restaurant wins, and they want to get the plaque that they get to, move from restaurant to restaurant each year. And it's a really low risk kind of thing. The only cost that they have is T-shirts, and the restaurants and the title sponsors pay for that. So I think we're going to try and do that this February. Keep your calendars open. Thursday before, February 14th is a Sunday, so it's Thursday before that. Kurt had a question?
From the TV standpoint, what kind of exposure did that get for those places?
I'm not sure. I spent the night in a hotel that night, and so I went back, and I got back and I was getting ready to try to put all the Facebook video together. That took me about 2.5 hours every night, because I'm not really good at computers, and I didn't think about it until after it was already like 10:50, and I missed it, but I got a hold of it. I've seen the video. It was probably 30 seconds that played, and I think it was just on their website. I don't know if they played it over the station or not, but they wanted to do that instead of the newspaper, and that was great. So I'm pretty sure at least the Pregnancy Care Center there, they have that now. They can put that on there with their director being interviewed, so it'd be good content for them. They advertise a lot, though. I don't think they had any problems. Oh, no hands. Good. Robbie's got one.
Over the course of the ride, did you run into anybody that had, in the past, had an abortion and they encountered you just basically, not as a hero, but
Nah.
thankful that you're doing something there?
No, not once. Not once did I hear that, but then again, I don't know if they would have been that open to jumping in and sharing that with me, but I didn't. But there were, at a couple of the places we stopped, we would talk with the Pregnancy Care Center directors, and they had tons of those stories there. The last one, actually, in Minnesota was outstanding. Did you watch that one? The night, excuse me, the director talked about a lady who had come in and wanted a free ultrasound. I guess they do that sometimes because Planned Parenthood will charge you for the ultrasound, and then you have to come back another time. So it's a second visit, and if you go to one of the pregnancy care centers first, they'll do a free ultrasound, and they will take advantage of that with them being already abortion-minded. They're just trying to save a buck, but we get a chance to talk to them, and this lady was not having it. She was really hostile about it, and the director said, look, I'm just going to back off, but, you know, we're here for you if you need us. And it was, you know, however, a couple months later, she came back in and said, okay, I'm here, and now I got this. Are you telling me the truth? Because I'm coming. And she said she says, yeah, absolutely, we're here. And, you know, in the video, she tells how actually the girl gave her life to Christ before she had the pregnancy, had the birth. Gino, do you have another one?
No, actually, it's literally gonna ask.
That's funny, good.
No, that would be such a, I think, to have a young lady that actually went through the whole process, that would be like.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They stick around, and a lot of times they love it. I mean, they're getting tons of support. They're meeting people. It's a great system to get involved in, especially if you're in trouble like that. Yeah.
Something I didn't know, and I don't know if everyone else knows it, but when I was there for your send-off and I got to see the tour
Oh,
of the
yeah.
facility, you guys have Bible study with those moms.
It's a ministry, and I tried to make a point of that when I got a chance to out on the road too, was that, you know, not every mission goes to Africa to feed starving children, and that's great, but these guys, their mission field is right here, and it's with a specific population of girls and young families who need lots of support to make a smart choice there. So yeah, everyone that I went to was very, very Bible-based and evangelical, yeah. Abraham?
Any animosity or opposition at all?
I'm sorry?
Any animosity or opposition?
Oh, no, I never really ran into anybody that was, I was kind of preaching to the choir. I was going, you know, to the pregnancy care center and then to a church over in the little town of Hope. I didn't stir the pot. I was trying to make a commercial for Facebook for everybody to see. Yeah, no, maybe that'll be next year too. Go out a little bit noisier. Plus, I don't know if I was ready. I'm still pretty new.
Financially, on the centers that you visited, are they struggling extremely bad, or is it, are they doing okay?
I'd say they all seem to be doing okay. We always talked about COVID stuff while we were there, and I don't think it was getting them too bad. Generally, I think they were still pretty well supported. Most of their stuff is probably regular monthly, I think. There were ones that were smaller and some that had, gosh, the Kansas one was, I think they had 7 or 8 staff and a bunch of volunteers, and the North Dakota one was, man, I think they probably had 15 or 20 staff. That was another Catholic-funded one. Yeah, they always seem to have more. But yeah, they were doing pretty well. Some were small, some were big, but they kind of like goldfish in the size bowl that they were in, you know.
How does our center do?
Oh yeah, sorry, that's okay. Our center is doing better than they have been for quite a while. April was saying just at the last board meeting that, and some of the other board members, man, I remember there was $50 in our account, and now there's a lot more than that. They're still having to pay attention, but it's much better. Hope is doing well, and compared size-wise, we just added 2 staff that are part-time. Oh no, three. With the Hope Kids Closet kind of opening back up. That's still a little work in process, but that's opening back up and has paid staff. And then there's 2 other gals, one a little bit less, a nurse that's in there. So yeah, they're probably middle of the road. I saw some that were smaller and a couple that were bigger, but we're right in the middle.
Well, but Planned Parenthood is getting millions and millions of federal dollars
Yeah.
every year, which, to answer Gino's question, is why everybody knows about Planned Parenthood.
They can afford it.
Do the pregnancy care centers receive any federal money?
No, we did get that loan for the COVID thing. No,
They get no federal funds to save lives, whereas the government
no,
shells
no,
out millions to.
no. And what's the name of that guy? Hoffenbridle, Pastor Hoffenbridle, remember from a couple of banquets ago, made that point that he goes, and you know, think about it. If Planned Parenthood does it for profit, you know, the more abortions they do, the more money they make. And the pregnancy care centers are doing it for free. And I mean, you ever hear somebody say, I'd do that job if they didn't pay me? They're not only doing that, they're doing it for free. That's how important it is and how dedicated they are to helping the communities with that. Do it for free.
Do you think that's out of, like, they don't want to participate? Like, Hope doesn't want any of that help?
No, the government doesn't do it. No, I don't think they can. I don't think there is anything that way. There's in Kentucky, they had, for some of the abstinence training, sex ed stuff they were doing in the schools, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they had a Title V grant, I think I heard her say. I don't know the details on that. But then they had to pay for it out of their own pocket to do everything for the high school level. But for that, they got a grant for that. So there's different things, little ones like that, but not large scale getting paid with Medicaid reimbursements like Planned Parenthood, you know.
Like AARP is a big contributor to Planned Parenthood. They say old people save money on your insurance, but you're killing off the future generation.
Yeah, yep.
What about, like, other opportunities that, like, Fayetteville Baptist could, like, participate in?
In there.
Such as, like, some kind of fundraiser or some, like,
Mhm.
I know of some musicians who did, like, donation concerts where everybody paid $15 and they played a concert.
We're listening. We could, yeah. I will.
Is Hope, like, I'm sure Hope.
Open to that kind of idea? Yes, we will tell the board and give them your number. Let you talk to April. We'll get this going. Yeah. Action, right?
So besides the church, what could an individual or an individual family do to help a resource center, Hope Resource Center, or another resource center?
You know, that is another one that I'm kind of working on with them, because I saw places out there that had a regular crew of volunteers, and they were like the already knew what to do volunteers. They came in and they were just like regular staff. They basically considered themselves having a staff of 25 or whatever, but only 7 of them were getting paid. They were just regulars. They came every so many days per week or whatever. We are not to that point yet, but would love to get there. So it's one of those, as the funding increases, you can do more things, and then you need more people to run those programs. And, you know, we need really cool guitars, or we'll never get Eddie Van Halen. We'll never have Eddie Van Halen if we don't get a cool band. It just kind of all goes together. You know? It's like that. Yep. So it kind of comes. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they'll post what they need on their Facebook page. Yeah, look at their Facebook page, like their stuff, share their stuff. That reminds me. There is a big problem that all the pregnancy care centers have is men to help. So it feels like a place for women and girls to a lot of the guys. And so it's hard to get them into the parenting classes to stay and that sort of thing. And so, especially if there's any counseling that happens too, having men on staff or regular volunteers who could do that sort of thing is hard to get them. In Kansas, they had a program that, well, actually, we do at the end of the parenting classes. If they go through all 10 classes, they get to pick, well, they get a gift each class, but they, at the end, they get the choice of a pack and play, what is it, a car seat or crib, yeah. So in Kansas, they had the additional idea to draw the men in, that if they made it with them as well, they would, they had somebody who had donated all the supplies and everything, and then they had a fella who was a carpenter, woodworker guy, and he had come up with a set of plans, and he'd volunteered to, whenever they make all 10, they'd come out to his place, they'd work in the shop, get to spend some guy time making a changing table, so they could, you know, guys, that's what they want to do. They want to do something and make something to be helping. So, yeah, he had that plan. So we want to get that going as well. The board was pretty excited about that. So if anybody knows how to run a table saw, or you know, just even supplies and funding, or wants to, man, they'll find a way for a fella to help out. They don't get as many male volunteers as they do the gals. Connie? I believe they do. And I will tell you that honestly, I have only been on the board for 5 months, and I'm not an expert scholar in this whole thing, but I think that they do. Every one of the ones that I went to, talked to, that was definitely one of the things that they did. They had options for adoptions, making connections with those kind of things. I don't know the details of what they do, or if they're doing a lot of counseling towards that. I don't know for sure. Marcy probably knows more about that than me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's when you hear a lot from the other side that, oh, you guys just are wanting to have babies and then you dump them. That was completely just not the case. Every single one I went to, that's not true. We'll keep them on until 3 or 4 years old. That's great. We still do support for all those. So if you ever hear that argument, that's no good. Robbie?
Yeah, and I'd like, obviously, at the theaters, we have 2 bottles for Planned Parenthood. We've done it for years. If there's anybody, Planned Parenthood, sorry. That is not true. I'm sorry, Jay. Well, Hope Resource Center, all day long, they took over Planned Parenthood building.
Yes. Yeah.
And, any businesses out there, whatever, April would love to put a bottle in there. She
Yep.
will come get it, they will, and it,
Yep.
if you have change, come and drop it in there.
Uh-huh.
It does really well. April is so helpful. She'll do anything to help you guys in your business or whatever. So just a little plug. They do have baby bottles, that's large baby bottles they stick in there.
Yeah, definitely.
So is there no like monthly, like, you know how you pay to like NRA or something? Is there something for that, like with Hope, to where
Yep.
someone can make like?
They do. That's the preferred means of donation. Every organization loves the regular monthly ones that you can count on. So yeah, go to their website. There's a place to put in. Yep, they got that. I got them to do that last year at the ride. I said, I'm going to be going out asking for people to donate. You got to have a place to hit donate on your website, and so we made sure that got there last year. So, yeah, right. I told Jada, it occurred to me that I'm just the Kmart blue light. Hey, look at me, I'm riding a motorcycle everywhere. And then I'd point you to the cool stuff that the pregnancy care centers are doing. Not me. Yeah. Cool. All right, there'll be a board meeting after. Oh, sorry. Yeah. 3,705 miles. When I pulled back in the Hope parking lot, I looked 3,705. Yeah, and 15 states total to answer that.
You know, I am amazed about, we take for granted that everybody knows about Hope. But not everybody does. And it's a wonderful ministry. It's a great ministry. It's been around for a while in Bedford. And I had the privilege of serving on the board for several years. And the one thing about when I served on the board was it seemed like we were always moving the building somewhere. When I first started, we were on 16th Street behind the subway that used to be there in front of Fruits Plus. There was a building behind that. And then we moved over to 16th Street at that strip mall there that they just built. And then we moved over to Lincoln Plaza. I remember going to a board meeting one day, and Marcy Peterson was the director, and she said, "We have an opportunity to move the building again." And my first reaction was, again? What are we, a bunch of gypsies? And she says, the Planned Parenthood is closing, and we have an opportunity to move over there. And when they close, they're not going to take a lot of their equipment, and so the equipment will be there. And I was very excited about moving that time, and that's where they're still at. I always say, everybody, where's Hope at? I said, it's where Planned Parenthood used to be, and we don't have a Planned Parenthood in Lawrence County that I know of now. And so very thankful for that ministry. And we're thankful for the folks of our church who've been on the board. Stella was on the board for a while. Chad's on the board now. Marcy's active in it, and some of you. And they do take volunteers and all that. So we're thankful that the Lord gave Chad this opportunity to really let it be known. It was been on his heart for a while. And the Lord just worked it all out and used it. All right, well, stand, and we'll close. We're going to sing a song. Did I leave that down there? My little, yep, clicker. By the way, somebody lost a charger. If you did, it's up here. Plug-in charger. You're my all in all.
You are my strength when I am weak. You are the treasure that I seek. You are my all in all. Seeking you as a precious jewel, Lord, to give up I'd be a fool. You are my all in all. Jesus, Lamb of God, worthy is your name. Jesus, Lamb of God, worthy is your name. Taking my sin, my cross, my shame, rising again, I bless your name. You are my all in all. When I fall down, you pick me up. When I am dry, you fill my cup. You are my all.